All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pair Programming Sundays, where Kael and I are building a streaming schedule application. Hey, Kael. So, where did we leave off last time? Well, so we've been working on this for a few weeks, the basic default template. So probably something about that. I vaguely remember us doing something with the front end view template. Before we look at the code, we can let me create a terminal and we can get it going. Hey, it shows the learning process. I believe this is right, because we removed the main front page, so it's just like a super simple hello world. And then we can click into what we have. And these links, I believe, work. Yeah, they do. They just go to pound though. Well, I think that once we eventually have the what is it, like the admin panel, we'll be able to fill out a form that will put in what those links would be. We could definitely do we have all the information that we want to display on here? Let's actually go to the view page that this was on, like the file. I'll follow you. Control P. Yeah, which means, of course, we need to have some data in the database to get dynamically. Well, I guess for testing purposes, we could definitely make a tool to like put the data in for us. That's called a seed. Yeah, it's very helpful in automatic testing. However, in production, we're not going to have that. We would just create the form, and you'd start off with like absolutely nothing, and then move forward from that. Well, let's what do you want to do? Do you want to create a seed to automatically add some of this data in, and then we'll get it from the database, or do we want to um, create the form that will create the stuff in the database? All right. So let me show you where the seeds are going to go. They're going to go into, let's see, where is that? Database, seeds. So there is a file called database seeder right now, and this is currently it's got this commented out line, which is kind of showing you how it might work once we like create our own. This entire database seeder is like we can put whatever we want in here, or we can create another seed and then call that seed from here. All right. So best practice is actually to create seeds for each like table that we're doing, or each basically like logical thing that we're adding in. And then that way, if we end up having like 30 of those, we're just calling them from database seeder, and then we can comment out which ones we want to run or which ones we don't want to run. Sort of like what we have here. Yeah, it would warrant, but as you've noticed, we have a lot of files already. So this isn't the most, we usually don't really have to care that much about the huge number of files on the backend side of things, especially in deployment. Right. It's just the front end, and the only real reason we care super, a lot about the number of files in the front end is because all those have to be downloaded before the code can execute. Well, yeah, and that's why we have things like Webpack that will put everything into a single small file. Well, a single file. It's not necessarily small. It can be. It can be. All right, let's go ahead and create a new seed. So we'll use. Yep. So if you just type PHP artisan. Good question. So let's go take a look at our migrations. So we have two migrations right now. One for the creating the users table, and one for creating the password reset table. But we don't have any for anything else. Like no other data can be stored right now. So we probably want to change that. So the question sort of becomes what the name of this table should be. So as long as we haven't made this a live web application and we have like actual real data on it, it's very easy to change because we'll just say, you know what, delete everything and start over. The second Yeah, but the second that we start creating a bunch of code or a bunch of we actually get real user data and we start layering that on top of these changes, then it becomes incrementally more difficult because we have to change it not in one place, but in multiple places. Well, let's think about what data we're storing. Okay, yeah, we can definitely do that. So we'll have like so when we have a streamer schedule table, what kind of data would be in that? And we can actually let's go to the README file. Oh, Control P is the best. So I'm going, let's add another section down here, and we'll do database schema. So unfortunately, I don't have a way for us to share like actual drawing or creating a ERD. Have you heard of an ERD? Not exactly. I want to say eloquent, but that's the Laravel framework for it. Oh man, I had that. Okay, so the R&D is relational database, and the E is talking about the way we're displaying that data out to the screen for us, and it's not actually data; it's the relations themselves. So, for example, we might put in here we have a users table. And what that means is that we have an ID, which is a type number, and it's our primary key. And we can actually go and take a look at. I'm gonna put the user migration to the right. Yeah, so we have an ID, which is a number, and to be more specific, this is a big integer. Then how many bits is that? Oh, I have no idea. My guess is it's a 64 bit integer. Let's see. Then we have name, and that is a string. And so we can continue building this out and sort of seeing what this looks like. Exactly. And so on. So let's actually build this out. Katali, hello, welcome to the stream. So if we want to, do you remember how we can go and take a look at what the database looks like right now and verify what those remember token and what that timestamp really means? The answer is you're right on both. You're right once and you're wrong once. It is artisan, but it's tinker. I mean, the answer for doing anything Laravel is usually, oh yeah, I can get to that through Artisan. Oh no. Yes. Katali, yes, you were absolutely right. I accidentally muted Kael. Thank you for letting me know, Katali. And now you should be live again. Right, yes. And the remember token is actually something a little bit special behind the scenes. Uh-oh. I still can't hear you. That's... Am I echoing? Because I'm wondering, well, not to you, but I'm wondering because whenever I talk, the output monitor is going up too. Let me try switching.
No. Maybe I'm not speaking loud enough. Maybe I gotta yell. They're too far away.
All right, I think that might have done it.
Can you hear me? Gosh.
Now we just have to wait for somebody in chat to
Yeah.
or otherwise we'll just sit here and stare at our chat.
Yeah. Go Dolly. Let's see. Yay.
Yes. Okay. So here's what happened. Apparently, even though it told me that I was listening to the output of my headphones, it wasn't. It was listening to my microphone. So I had two audio sources from my microphone, but apparently they were off by a mic, like a microsecond or so, and that's what was causing that tiny bit of reverberation. So I switched it to the default out. Oh, I love computers. They always do things that we totally want them to do every time without fail.
Every time.
So what we can see is that remember token, we don't have to really worry about this right now. This is something that's happening in the background, and we won't need this ourselves. But the timestamps, what this is doing is it's adding in these created at and updated at fields for us.
Great.
We can choose to ignore them if we want to. But I mean, I've always feel that they're nice to have because you can use that for auditing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's literally one line, like no biggie.
Exactly, yes. Let's go ahead and change timestamps here to be the created at, updated at.
Okay. There we go.
And we could remove that remember token.
Just completely. Okay.
Yeah, because it's not really in the database.
Oh, really? Huh.
Or I mean, it's not really in this table. Like we don't have to worry
We
about it.
don't see it. Yeah, we don't. It's not us to worry about it, I guess.
Yeah, it's some magic that's happening behind the scenes.
Sweet.
Okay, so with this, we can see that we're having this users table. It has the ID, which is going to be the primary key,
Great.
and then we have all this other data, which doesn't really like there's nothing else to sort of like search on for it. And if we wanted to store, um, let's say we want to store like a variety of links or other things, we have to decide, do we want to like add anything else to this users directory, like this users table, or do we want to create new tables for this?
I'd say definitely new tables. I think if we wanted to tack on to the users, I think that's kind of naive. I think that's a naive approach. It'd be easy, but like, I want to get into the relational part of it.
And yes, that is pretty, that is a good idea to sort of not put everything into users unless it actually does, um, is relevant to the user account.
Okay. So
So
I am thinking maybe there is something that we do want to add to the users, though. I mean, maybe. I don't really know, but if we do something like uh, if we make this a big integer as well, and then with that, we come over here and have schedules or something, and then we have the ID here as well being the key. And I think this is what and then like the rest of the data. Is this how you do it? Like, I feel like this is how I'd go about doing it. I don't know if this is what's relational about it. This is actually my first time doing something like this, but I mean, schedule ID, you see the schedule ID for each person. You search them up by name and then you get their schedule ID, and then using that schedule ID, you go get the actual schedule from the schedules.
so this is really really close.
Okay.
The big difference here, I'm gonna put in a bunch of lines, and I forgot the key combination to auto create all these. Oh, of course. I screwed that up. How did I screw that up so badly? Okay, let's try it again. If I select all of you, and is it like Command Alt L, Command Alt L, Command Shift L? No, I don't know. Okay. I want to create. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a little bit of space to the left.
Huh. I don't know. I thought you were trying to have it automatically put like a line there. I was like, ooh,
Oh no. Okay.
interesting.
So I want to do that. And what I want to do now is show you that, and this is what often will happen in these type of drawings here, is we'll say, okay, we have this slash, and then we can put a pipe in here. This is a lot easier when you're drawing it.
Maybe I'll start from the top and work my way down. So you. I did my part. There you go.
So you can see with this, we have a dash on this left, and it's not actually, so it's the ID here, but it's actually not going to come to the ID down here. So the schedules will have an ID, but we don't need this. We don't need this schedule ID in here.
Okay.
And do you know why we don't need that?
Well, I think it's because it's a one-to-one. Is it because each user only has one schedule? If it were like a one-to-many, then maybe we'd need it.
It's actually more of the opposite. We definitely wouldn't want to put it in here if we could potentially have many of them, because then we'd have a conundrum of how would we put two of these in here?
Okay.
I think
Okay.
it's more of we can have zero or more. And right now we can set this as a one-to-one. But we
Oh,
could potentially have one streamer having multiple schedules. In fact, uh, I think we do have multiple schedules.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we think about it, we have title one under schedule.
Oh, I was thinking that schedule meant like when I said schedule, I thought it was just like the entire data for their streamer page. But
Mm.
it'd make more sense if it were just the literal schedule on the page. It just makes it a little bit more complicated, I guess.
Well, yeah. Plus, and what we can do is, how about this? Let's try building out what this is going like. What you think it could possibly look at like. I'm gonna. I'll leave this right here. Here's the data we need to have. We have all these different schedules. So this will be like the title of the stream schedule, um, the description for it, and the days it happens and the times.
Okay,
So
right.
I guess like the start times, and the lengths, like how long the stream is usually. Then we have um, the links for where to watch that stream, and then we have generic links out. So for example, we have the my Twitter.
Right.
So go ahead and create this table layout the way you think that way can store all the data.
Okay, let's see. So if we had that, I would say just start simple. Uh, string is what I'm trying to say. Um, string as well, and then we'd have the actual links, which would be it would probably have to be a number, and then we'd have to come back here and add a links or something. And each of these links will have an ID. Uh, and they'd also have the text. And then the to, which is probably also a string unless there's some URL data type, but I don't know about that. So after that, we would probably come over here and do events. Number. Actually, it should probably be a big integer as well. My mouse is messing up. Let's see. And so with that, then we'd pretty much have to do the same thing. So events. And then each one also has an ID. And then a title. And then links. Links ID. And it would probably be, since these are the same thing, like they've got an ID, a text, and two, we could just use this links again. That links table. Then we could have a, wait, actually that's an event. An event has a description. So I'm pretty sure that'll just be a big string. I don't know if that's a bad practice, but then we'd have the stream times, and we probably also want to make that a reference to the database. I don't know how to there. And then that would have an ID, which would be another big integer, and then it would have, I don't know, maybe a timestamp. or something like that. Probably not a timestamp exactly, but maybe like day of week. String, I don't know. And maybe like a repeat string, I don't know. I don't exactly know how a stream time should be laying out, but
I think we decided that the stream times, we're just assuming that these are repeated on a week. So
okay.
we'll have like a show. So that might be, okay, we're doing this type of stream. So we're like, for example, every Sunday morning we have our pairing stream. So that would be
Okay.
one schedule.
So maybe this could be a timestamp. Oh wait, time, timestamp, something like that. Because then I'm pretty sure we'd be able to just extrapolate the day of the week and the time of the day from that one timestamp, and then use that to populate like the weekly type stuff.
All right. So is this what you think?
This is what I would think, but I think there is an issue with all this where is it? All these IDs and everything, but I don't know what it is. I don't know another way to do it.
All right. Well, let's take a look at this. So
Oh wait, I might actually know a way to do it. But
all
I'll
right.
just let you explain it. Okay, I'll go for it then. So would it be something like you need like the actual relation table? So like user schedules, and so it would be user ID would be the big integer. Oh, oopsies. And then all of their links, maybe. So like, oh, we'd also have to have an ID for this one. So like that.
Yes, this is called a join table. This table pretty much only exists to join two other tables together to make it really easy to query things.
Okay,
Juan,
sweet.
welcome to the stream.
That was my face when I thought I had it right the first time.
So let's take a look. I'm gonna look at on the right hand side. I have the streamer schedule page up. We have all the data over here right now. I'm just going to look at the right and make sure that I feel that it can fit in to this these rules here. So
Great.
one big thing is that we have the streamer schedule, and to build that out, we're yes, so much CSS, Juan. This is fully styled. We're gonna ship it like this, of course. So streamer schedule. That's gonna like include the name, like our username, and we're getting that from the users table.
Right.
Okay. Then we're gonna have a bunch of schedules, and so each of those will have a title. So we have this schedules, and we have our title.
Okay.
We have our description in there. I actually don't see that in the schedules.
I think it's in the events.
Okay, what's the difference between I think so I think a schedule will have its own description.
Okay.
Because I don't know an event itself would have an event is like each day, right?
Well, I was thinking an event would be like pair programming Sundays. I don't really know why I put a title there. I thought we did have that. Wait, what? Hang on. I was going off of the where is that? I'm trying to find the standard. There it is. Standard schedule component. So if we look in the data, we have the title and the links title, and I think that was just to make sure that we could put that somewhere, I guess. Um, just making it customizable. I don't know if we really need that at all. But that's regarding to the page as a whole. So like what you want to pop up first thing, like at the top, I guess.
Right. And so we're gonna need to store this title, like the full title somewhere.
Yes. But then again, each event has their own title, has their own links, as well as the page itself has its own links and a
So
links title.
I'm not completely sure that the schedules table is necessary, uh, because if all we're gonna do is store the title in it, then we can just put that in our users table.
Yeah, we could. Yeah. Could we also do like the links for the page? Because I do think that's kind of important to have, like, oh, if you want to email me, here's my email. Something not necessarily relevant to a specific event, but relevant to you as a creator.
Right. So that's a really good question for those global links. And if we only have one of them, then we can put that into like, for example, the users. But if we want a little bit more control over this and we want to create multiple of them, because for example, we don't want to like store a weird string, and I want to avoid the JSON type in the
Right.
database because that's kind of cheating.
It is, yes.
So it would be a little bit better, I think, for us to create um, to like the title maybe of like our streamer page could probably go into the users table.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like that's just a little bit like a little cheaty too, because what if they have multiple titles for some reason? But I don't know if we should really worry about that.
Well, so that's a feature. Do we want a streamer to be able to have multiple stream pages?
I don't really think so. I think one's enough.
Then there's only one title ever.
Okay. So then it would be something like this or something. Oopsies. String.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
So that gives us our full top title, and then we're going to have a list of these different events.
Okay.
So it sounds like we don't need schedules because we're going to do events, and you have that down here.
So let me. I guess we would have like. We'd do something like this then. We'd get rid of that. We'd do this. But instead of schedules, I guess we'd name it events.
Sure. Let's not worry about the join table until we
Okay.
get the two main tables.
Gotcha. Let's see. Alrighty then.
So we have events. We know we need this title. So we have like title one as an example right now.
Right.
We know we need a description.
Yes.
We have that. And then we need the days that it starts.
So like, yeah, we point to the stream times, and that would give you the timestamp of each time of the week, I guess.
Right. So we definitely need to be able to like grab the start times for these.
Okay.
I also think that maybe the length of each stream might be nice too, because then you can say like, okay, on Monday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, this is going to be a 1 hour stream. But on Tuesday or Wednesday, it's going to be a 2 hour stream. And on Friday, it's going to be a 30-minute stream.
Okay. So what we could do then is we could just kind of start time and then have an end time.
We could definitely do that. I wonder if it would be easier for if we just, instead of like playing with timestamps, we just had that be a string.
Okay. Well, I'm afraid then we'd have trouble with like time zones.
You are correct. Yes. So if we have what if we add start time and length?
And length? Why would we do length?
Well, length of time, like how long?
Like the duration of the stream, I guess.
Yeah, like duration. So all of these are actually good ideas, and all of them have positives and negatives.
Okay. Because I feel like if we did length, like, then it would be a string, but how would that go? Would it be something like 5 hours or something?
It could be, or it could be an integer, and we do the number of minutes or hours.
Okay.
Basically, in the end, we need to be able to calculate the end time dynamically, or calculate how long it is and then display that. So,
Right.
For example, let's go back to the standard schedule component and let's put in the length because we don't have that on the screen.
Okay. Great. So how would we want to display that exactly? If we have like, so right now it's just Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Right. So we want the start time and we want we want to like show how long it is.
At 8 o'clock a.m., let's just say CST, for 2 hours, something like that, I guess.
Sure, let's try that.
And I'll just kind of paste that in. More seating. Here we go.
And we need to, do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Let me grab you another terminal.
What was it? What was it? I feel like it's Vue something. Nope. I don't remember. Huh.
It's npm actually.
Oh, yeah, okay. There we go.
Yeah.
For some reason, I keep thinking it's Vue, but I guess that wouldn't make sense at all.
I mean, it is close. We could probably create a script called like, build view or something.
I'm pretty. They probably already have that though. Like, there we go. Okay, so that works.
Do you like it?
I kind of do. I mean, I think it should be up to the streamer to decide whether they want it like that or here. I'm just gonna edit this. Oopsies. There we go. Let me just. What just happened? Oops. So either the top one or the bottom one. Oh wait, that didn't do it. I thought the watch. Oh, do you mind saving it?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Saved.
So I feel like the streamer should be able to like choose whether or which way it's displayed, I guess.
Well, so it is super nice to give our users that option,
Yeah.
but there is a dangerous side effect of allowing our users to make all these different choices, which is what is the term? It's like a there's a combinatorial effect here, which is every different option that our users have, we have to test all those options in conjunction with the rest of the application.
Okay.
So it makes our tests more complicated, and it
Mm-hmm.
increases app complexity, and therefore increases chances of bugs by a huge amount.
Okay. Gotcha.
So for this first version, let's not give our users a choice, and
Okay.
they have to do what we say.
Gotcha.
So how do we want to display it for ourselves?
Uh okay, so I don't like the 4 2 hours. But how else would you um how would you do it, I guess? If you want to
Well,
like
okay,
edit the
so
bottom one.
the I do like this idea of like, okay, 8 to 10. What if we
Is there
where
just a semantically better way to display the length?
yeah, so what if we put into here like another p tag and we say times displayed in MDT. So whatever your local time zone is, we'll display that there.
Okay, gotcha.
And then for each of these, it could be okay, so Monday at 8 a.m. And I kind of like yours does seem decently good. I like that. So 8 a.m. to like 9 a.m.
Okay.
So if we did that, that my sort of adding in that
Oh
paragraph
yeah.
destroyed your CSS grid.
Dang. Who knew?
Juan suggests format it for humans. Unix timestamp on Roman numerals.
Ooh. I prefer using just dots. Just dots. Dang it. Okay, well that broke it.
Well,
This
I
is why
mean,
we should have used the what's it called?
flex.
What was the name? Yeah. Probably would have been more just better able to handle that.
Well, I mean, this is the testing part. When you change something, then you have to make new changes. Then you have to, like,
Right.
your CSS does rely a little bit on the structure, but it shouldn't matter too much. But
Like what I'd do for that then is just create a div, I guess. Come on. There we go. There. And then just get rid of this class. Oh wait, but this would also have to be, yeah, that would be fine actually. Oh wait, oops. I put that with the wrong thing. um what did I say that this was? UL schedule. Where is the schedule? Where can I wrap this? So this is the stream times, but it hasn't got a class on it, and I don't know why not. Why
I
does
don't
it not?
think those were styled.
I thought I had placed them. What does my CSS grid look like? Description, schedule, schedule. So there is a class dot schedule, but I don't think I ever used it. So that's awkward. There. And there. Oh wait. There. Okay. So that should fix it. Yeah, okay, great.
And of course, we would have the times displayed in MDT and like some kind of other, some other way to like be differentiated from the description. But obviously, this
Right.
is not final schedule like the CSS. Laravel, you say carbon. I assume that was in reference to the timing. But do we like the way this looks?
I mean, it's definitely not easy on the eyes.
Well, okay, I don't mean like styled. I mean the dates, the times.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
And the top two, right? The 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., the 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. or a.m.
Yeah, yeah. I'll go ahead and add the AM because there we go. I was thinking omit the AM if they're both in the same AM/PM type thing, but we can worry about that later.
And that's actually going to make it for less work because if we have to calculate, oh, are they both in the same time, like AM PM? That actually is a little bit extra code.
Right. Okay.
All right. Okay, so now we know this. We can go back to our README and update the sort of the database map that we have.
Okay, so we added. I don't think we actually added anything.
Right, because we were trying to decide, okay, we have these events.
Right.
So we have the events, and then we have the stream times, and we were trying to decide like how do we like what do we need in the stream times here.
So yeah, so we would have. I would say like, I think it would be a lot easier to get the length of a stream if we used an end time, and I just think we'd be more versatile with an end time timestamp because you can deal with that in JavaScript, and there you can like add and subtract, can't you? I thought you
Yes,
could with dates or something.
absolutely we can. And now that we've decided on like the two different times with the hyphen between them, having the start time and end time is actually a little bit easier for us now.
Okay, well, then how do we jam this into a table?
All right, so we have our stream time. So basically, um, we'll create one row in here for each of these. So like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then we'll have our start time and our end time for each one of these.
So then we'd need another relational boy in this.
Maybe.
Okay.
Probably not though. I don't think that we're gonna need a
Really?
join table for this.
So how would you do it without a join table? If
So
like
it's
each event has multiple stream times?
it's exactly the opposite of what you have here. We don't need the stream times ID in
Okay.
events because we're going to have multiple stream times for every one event.
Okay.
So it's the opposite.
So we would need uh event ID.
Right,
Right?
exactly.
So this is one to many is what you'd call this one.
Right, yes.
Okay, great.
And so what that means is that the events table doesn't have to be aware of stream times, but stream times has to be aware of events.
Okay.
And that's kind of a lie. We're going to be able to handle the relationship, but when we don't need to say like, hey, we're going to put in a like an event ID or a stream time ID in events. And that's mainly because if we have like 4 or 5 of them, how do we do that? It's impossible.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
The only way to possibly do that would be to guess how many we have and do something like stream times ID 1.
Ooh, don't want that.
And then like copy that and like say like, oh, you're only allowed to have like 7. And they're all going to be null unless you use them. No, it's like, that's terrible.
Yeah, that is. It's very bad.
Right. So we don't have to. The database is actually smart and will figure that out for us.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we have that. We have our stream times. We have our start and the end time. If we come back to events, we do have our what was this? Oh, so therefore we also don't need this links ID.
Right. Okay. But the links should. Oopsies. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. The links should have either an event ID, I guess. But then we have the issue with the user events because.
Well, let's sort of focus back on the end result here. We have this right now. Watch me on Twitch, or you'll have a watch me on YouTube.
Okay. Right.
And this feels like it's going to be per event.
So you're thinking there's only going to be one link per event?
There's probably only one link of like where the actual like channel or the event or anything else is on in like Twitch or YouTube or wherever else we're streaming or hosting videos.
Well, what if you want like, okay, here's the stream and here are the previous videos, or what if you're collaborating with somebody and you want to link their stream?
So that's a really good point. How would we display that?
I would think with just another link.
Let's go add that in. Let's actually put that into the component.
Let's see. So we just come right here and we'd be like ID2. See the archives. And then, yeah, something like that, maybe.
Okay, yeah, no, I can definitely see this.
Either that or like I'll be streaming with this person. Here's their stream too, if you wanna watch in on them, I guess.
Right. So if we're having multiple of these, then yes, we definitely do need to have a separate table for these. I guess this is the reason why I'm usually adamant about having like the actual real data in the front end when we're designing the database. Otherwise, we'll make the wrong decisions.
Okay. So would this do the trick, having like an event ID or some kind of ID that points to what it's for?
Well, we can, but there's another problem here is we have a very generic links area.
Yes.
And that's going to be potentially multiple links too.
Okay.
Because some people might want to share their Facebook or like a meetup page or something else.
Right.
So the question is, do we want to share a single table between the links on the right that are part of each that are part of each event and the major links like for the entire page, or do we want to separate those out into their own tables? I don't actually know if there is a right answer here.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and honestly, I think it'd be best to keep them as one. But like the fact that user events and events, like we might get clashing IDs, so we couldn't necessarily like. I guess we could have it so that uh if it has a whether or not like one of these will be null, like always or something. Um, so one of these is null, and the one that isn't null is the one it's for. I guess maybe.
Or we can just be a little bit simpler with it, and we could have the event ID, and we'll just say this is nullable.
Nullable. Okay.
If it's null, then this is the full page link.
So how do we designate the page link ID? Wouldn't we have to have a link ID?
Well, it would be right here.
Oh, I mean so when you have that ID, is it like what you just said there? It's how if each link is gonna have an ID, then how do we know if like what page this goes to? Whose page does this go to? You know?
Oh, so yes, very, very, very good point here. We're missing something in here.
So like, wouldn't it be like that?
Probably not page ID because we don't have a page title or a page
Right. So
table.
something maybe like that. Hang on one second.
Yes.
Okay.
So this would allow us to say, okay, every link is associated with a user, and sometimes they're events.
Okay, great. The only thing it's fine. It'll be fine.
What's your thought?
What I was thinking is that if we want to display all the links, then we're going to be searching for all the links with the user ID of this user. Well, we're also going to get the event links, and maybe we don't want to display those. So I guess we would just have an if statement. If event ID is null, then just don't then do display it in the major link section. But if it does have an event ID, then don't.
Right. And so there's a couple different ways to sort of go about this. One is to take the hit on the database side and do two different queries. I want all the links that are for like the main page, and then do another query. I want all the links for each, like a query per essentially. I want all of the events with their links connected.
Okay. And I guess you could do a query like, hey, give me a link that has a user ID of this and the event ID is null.
Yeah, you basically, yeah, that's exactly what we do.
Okay. Okay.
So something to keep in mind is that databases are really, really fast.
I like that.
And we're not planning on having millions of lines in this database, like millions of rows.
Well, why not?
It's just the nature of the data that we're storing in here. It's going to be a relatively small database.
Okay.
I mean, we could even do things like cap people and say like, oh, you're not allowed to have more than like 1,000 links or 1,000 schedule times.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
We could do those things to limit the usage of the database, but generally speaking, this is not going to be a database like well, even coming close to what some companies do, which is, well, we need like a 500 million rows for all of our users' data.
Whoa.
Which can happen quite easily.
I guess if you're logging in there every move, or maybe some sort of GPS thing, maybe, I don't know.
Well, I mean, or just over the years, you collect,
Oh
let's say you
yeah,
get
okay.
500,000 clients, and each of those clients are using it on a daily basis. You can collect a lot of data really quickly.
Yeah, at scale, yeah. Huh.
Even then, with hundreds of millions of lines, it should not take more than 1 second to query for basic stuff. If it does, that means that there's either something wrong with the schema in the database, or the indexes aren't set properly, which you probably don't know what indexes are, but it's a thing you can do to SQL databases to make them a little bit faster, sort of cache some of the searches.
Okay.
We won't need to worry about that at all. Um, this we'll be fine.
Okay, great. So now that we have like this, we don't actually need this, right?
Right. We don't. Let's not create any join tables right now. Let's look at through this, and we'll do some sort of like mental joins to see if it works.
Okay, great. So, if we want to query for, we first would query for the user, get their name, and then we get the title, and we display the title, and then we make sure we kind of remember their ID, and then we go into the links, and we search for links with the user ID of the ID that we got from the user, and then display those that don't have an event ID or that whose event ID is null. And then from there, remembering the user ID, we search for events with the user ID of the ID. And we go ahead and display all of those. And then using that one's ID, we search back up into links whose event ID is the event ID and display those. And then we go back to the event. And then, or we remember the ID from the event and we go look at the stream times and we display, or we grab the ones whose ID are event ID and display the start and end time, if that made any sense at all.
I mean, I think it does. If that doesn't make any sense to anybody watching, let us know.
I feel like I like messed up a couple of times and then didn't realize, but
well, like trying to describe out loud the schema of a database is very difficult. That's why it's really good to write these down.
yes, I agree. I never really have written this all down. This is like the first go at it.
It's helpful because how often do you then need to like change the database?
Yeah, and then trying to remember what you're changing every time, and then goodness, that'd be a nightmare.
Exactly. And so that's why we do it this way, is to sort of like think about what we're doing, be very mindful about what data we really need and how we want it displayed. And then we can go build this. This is also the reason why it's often ends in tears whenever teams decide to say like, okay, let's build one team builds the back end and another team builds a front end, and at the end we'll meet and like shove them together and it'll just work. And hint, it never works. There's always a lot of changes that need to be made.
I can only imagine. Like,
all right, so we have our streamer schedule page. If we take a look, when we go to the URL, it's like localhost :8000/ And then in my case, I'm on Brook Zerker. Or for you, it would be Kalinator.
Right.
Kalinator. We know we got that from the name of the users. So we'll be able to do the query off of the name.
So do the query. Oh, yeah. Okay. From the URL. Yes. Okay.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
What that means, though, is that this must be unique.
Okay.
Because if it's not unique, then you and I could essentially take the same name. And now what would happen when we try to query that?
We would find two of them.
Right. And we wouldn't know which one to display.
Right.
So badness. So we must make this unique.
So how do we make sure that it's unique?
Well,
okay. With this, I guess it's something with the database.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a special thing we can do to make it unique.
Yeah.
And you
The
see that we're doing it
email of the
on email
users.
right now.
Yeah.
We're just going to do the same thing on name.
On name. Okay, well, let's do that then. Oops, there we go. There we go.
So that will allow us to find all of this stuff. We have our different events. We have the stream times. We have the links for both the individual and the full times. Well, it sounds to me like we can go ahead and start creating the migrations for these tables.
Yo, more artisan. Right? Or not?
Exactly. Let's go take a look at arson. I think. Do we have any?
I think we can use 2 for now.
Yeah, we're in Tinker, but you can get out of that too.
Okay, let's see. So, oop. You good? Okay. PHP artisan make migration. And
so here's a quick sort of hint with this. If you include the word create in the name of this migration, it will include some boilerplate code for creating the table.
so, like, wait.
Take a look at how the create users one is named.
Create users table. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. So we'd say create links table, right?
Don't use capitals though.
No. Okay. So create links table.
Yeah. So try it.
Well.
And then
wait, hang on though. So, did you see me edit this in create users table?
Yes.
Is that okay to do?
Yeah, that's fine.
Just edit it straight there. Okay, great. Mm-hmm. So now we would implement everything we'd need in here, right?
Yeah, for the links. And if you take a look, it created some basic things for us in the links.
So let's see. It did our ID already, and it also did the timestamps. So that's cool.
Exactly, and that's mainly because, and it's also like Schema creating the table itself.
Yes. Okay.
And that's because we put the word create in there. These functions would be empty if we only just did like links table.
Okay. Good to know. So now I guess we start populating the up function.
Exactly. So we know what needs to go in here.
Yes, precisely. Let me get that on the second window. So I'm thinking should do a nullable, a nullable integer, but not an incrementing integer.
Correct. Yes.
So whatever it is, I know it needs to have this nullable thing. So I'll have to
And
figure that out in a second.
if you want to go in Laravel's documentation, they have a list of all of the data types
Okay.
somewhere in the database section.
Let's see. Database, getting started, query builder, migrations. Here we go. Columns. Let's go for this. Here we go. Column type. So big integer is what we'd want, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So big. And we'd name this event ID. Okay. So there's our event ID. Now let's do the user ID. And that cannot be null.
Right.
So keep it there and we're good. So you want the text as well. What's a link without its text? And that would be a string. As well as, now I would like to see if this is a thing. Is there some sort of,
you have the available column types.
let's see. Control F is not doing me justice. Let me find that again. I accidentally got all creating column. So binary Boolean character date time tz decimal double enum. Nope. Float. Ooh, that's cool. Enum. That's so nice. Anyways, float geometry increments integer IP address. Whoa. Huh. They've got to have like, wait. It wouldn't be an IP address, right? But
no.
Or would it? Okay. So JSON B. Huh, interesting. Line string, long text, MAC address. I feel like they're going to have it. I really do. Medium increments, medium integer, medium text, Morse multi-line string. That's interesting too. Multi-point, huh? Polygon, nullable morphs, nullable timestamps, point polygon, remember token, set, small increments, soft deletes. Ooh, there's your soft deletes that you were talking about. Anyways, string, text, time, z, timestamps, tiny increments, tiny integer, unsigned bit integer, unsigned decimal, unsigned integer. Dang it, they don't have it. That's tragic.
No, they don't. So you're going to have to use a string.
Dang it. I totally thought they were going to. I guess that's fine. You know.
Now, something to be aware of is that string to the right, if you take a look at the data type string and the description of it,
right,
it's a varchar or varchar. I don't know how many people pronounce
I know,
this differently.
yeah. It's like GIF versus GIF, so I just say character and I say GIF.
Right. But here's the problem. Varchar is default, or I think it defaults, the maximum length is 255 characters.
Okay.
So if our strings, like if the text or the two cannot go beyond 255 characters, then we can use string. If, however, we believe that they can go beyond that, like that we're going to allow that, then it might be better to use text.
Interesting. Text. Oh. Huh. I didn't know that existed. I guess I just brushed over it. So the difference is What is the difference?
The number of characters that you're allowed to store in that cell.
So it doesn't have a limit to it. A text doesn't have a limit.
Yeah, sure. There's no limit to it. That's a small lie. There is a
Yeah.
limit. It's just really, really big.
It's virtually. Is it dynamic? Will it allocate the same amount of space depending on the size, or would that be what a string is for?
I can't remember what the database does internally and how that works. Um, so let's just say that it allows you to put in whatever size of text you want right now.
So I think we should do text for description, and we should use a string for a link text. Like I don't think anybody's gonna have a link with the text 100 characters long or more. I think
All right.
that's
Then
they're
we'll
missing.
go ahead and do that. Now we're
But it's good to know.
using
Like I didn't know about that either.
well, and
I
this
remember
is
dealing with it though.
well, this is also for like different databases respect these limits differently. So,
Okay.
for example, if we use MySQL versus Postgres, they may have different limits on it. Like for the
Okay.
default varchar might be slightly different. Um, Another thing that's interesting is that if you try to use like varchar and set the limit to like 10 characters, let's say,
Right.
then um, what is it? We're using the simple MySQL. Where is that?
Oh, I thought we were using SQLite.
Yeah, we're using SQLite.
Okay.
I think of that as simple MySQL. Um,
Oh, okay.
the big difference about that is that SQLite doesn't respect the varchar limitations. So they'll allow you to sort of like go as big as you want.
Huh.
But
So
other
even if we
databases will not.
specify, huh?
Even if we
That's
specify that it like we only want it to be like 10 characters or 20 characters.
it's kind of mean.
Well, it's because they're a light version of a database. They're not really meant for like full application.
Hmm.
Now, because of that, we could put everything in strings, but then if we go to and if we use MySQL or Postgres in production, we could run into trouble.
Okay.
So let's do what we'd have to worry with in production.
So I guess we'll just go with the default, I guess.
Well, I think
Or
I think
should we
you're.
restrict it and make sure that it's the same restriction on the front end when the user goes to enter the length
I'm
or
actually
the
fine
thing?
with leaving it for default. So like string, not giving it a number to limit it, but we should also be aware of when we want to use text.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. I think description probably we'd need a text for that, but not for like not for a link. Oh
Right.
well, I don't know. What if the to link is really long? Do you think like is there a limit on? I don't think there is a limit on a URL length.
There
We won't worry
is,
about
but
that.
it's
I
several
feel like
thousand characters.
ooh, whatever. I don't think we should worry about that too much.
So let's not worry about it right now. If we run into bugs, we will deal with it then.
But even then, like no biggie, the user can just make a tiny URL and then paste that in for the to. But
They
that's
could.
anyways.
So are we finished making links?
I think so. I
The
think
the well, yes and no. There's these line 18 and 19.
18 and 19. Okay.
These are actually not working. So we're saying that we want to store like the user ID and the event ID,
Okay.
but we also need a special line to tell the database that there is a reference, there is a relation between this and the other tables.
Okay.
Now, the user table exists, like we have a migration for that. The event table does not. We don't have a migration for that at all. So it's going to be very difficult for us to create the migration line for us, but we might be able to get away from it. In the documentation, in the migrations page, there is a section for how to create the relations.
Oh. Okay. So that's really interesting. Let's try this. So is it something like did I spell that right? Yeah. No. Yes. EIGN. EIGN. Okay. So then it references. See it. I mean, it's doing all of this. So ID is the thing we have in users table. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Exactly. Yes.
And then on tells us the database. So
it tells not the database.
I mean the table. Sorry.
Right. The table name.
So it's users all lowercase. There we go. Well, great. Wow, that's really nice. So we'd have to do the same thing with this. References ID, and we'll just have to name it ID on. And I probably could have used those. I guess we'll name it. We'll have to name it events now.
Yeah. We're basically kind of setting it up for ourselves and saying like, okay, this is how it's going to be.
So it's like hooking it up. I honestly thought that we were going to have to do it ourselves. But it seems like with these, it's going to kind of handle some of it for us. That's nice.
Well, it kind of is doing it ourselves.
Well, I was thinking like we'll have to say the query, and then we'll have to make another query for each of those. Well, I guess I don't know exactly, but
so if we were using a NoSQL database like Mongo,
yes,
then we definitely would have to do that.
okay.
This is one of the benefits of using a relational database, though. There is one other element that we can add in here, which is the on cascade delete.
Yes. So I did see that. So on delete cascade. So what I'm thinking, like, so they say you may also specify the desired action for the on delete. So to drop a foreign key, you may use the drop foreign method. Foreign key constraints use the same naming convention as indexes. Okay.
So we probably don't need that, but what we do want to pay attention to is this on delete cascade.
Okay. So what I'm confused about let me see if I can find more about. I hope that's the only thing it has about on delete. So like, is that if we delete the user, it'll cascade to, like, if I have this. No. So like on delete cascade. So that will delete this link if the reference to the user ID, if that user is deleted, then it'll also delete this link. Is that what it's saying?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that makes. I was like super confused about exactly what they meant by that, but
yeah, and this is not a Laravel thing. This is a SQL database thing.
okay, I like that.
So the entire point of this is to prevent dangling
Data.
rows that like are can only be used with specific other rows in another table, but then those rows don't exist anymore. And so now you have essentially zombie or ghost ghost data that literally cannot be found ever.
I have no reference.
Exactly. And that can actually cause a lot of problems um, if you're trying to like do your joins and you've deleted a lot of stuff. Now you just have a lot of things that don't they're just taking up
They
space.
just exist, yeah.
Right,
Gunking everything up.
exactly. Now, the on delete cascade also introduces another problem, which is now you have a reliance on order.
Really?
Well, let's think about it. Can you create a link? Um, can you even create this links table if the users table doesn't exist yet?
No.
Right, exactly. And so we now have a problem. The migrations, when we execute them and run them, will run in order um,
Okay.
from top to bottom in the file.
Hmm.
And we now have a reliance on the events table that doesn't exist.
So if we just create the events migration real quick, do you think it's smart enough to know when to create each table?
No, of course not. The timestamp, so that time at the beginning of the file, that's when we ran the create migration command.
Wait, where is that?
Take a look at the file name.
Oh, yeah, I see it. I see it. Yeah, okay.
So let's go ahead. Let's create the events table migration.
Okay, let's see. So create events is what I named it. Table. So there's that. I'm gonna save create links real quick, just so nothing
Yeah, that's
happens
a good
to it.
idea.
Um. So then now we just do like we did, and hopefully everything goes well.
We do like we did. We have to now create the events. We will run into a bug when we try to run these, and that's simply because like we'll get this nasty error because it's going to try to create the links table before the events table.
Okay. So we'll have to watch out for that, and then figure out what to do about it, I guess.
Exactly. But let's go ahead and not worry about the second. Keep that in mind, and I'll show you how we can fix that.
Okay, great. So we do a foreign, and we call it user ID, and then its reference is to the ID on the what is it? Oh, references. Okay. It references ID on and user. It's the users. Oopsies. On users. And then we also want to do the on delete cascade.
Right. Yes.
Not sponsored by Cascade. And then we have the regular ones, so just string title. And then this one, however, though, this is going to be the text.
Right. Yes.
There we go. I think that's it for events. Now
All
we
right.
just have the stream times.
So let's go ahead and create the stream times.
Now let's go like this. So if it's multiple words, do I use an underscore between the word as well? So like,
Yes. And so I can tell you the reason why we do that is most databases don't really support capital letters.
That sounds silly.
And it's not that they don't support capital letters, is that they won't differentiate between the two. You'd have to use special quotes just to like tell it actually look for this capital, this capital letter. Otherwise, you're going to get the same. Um, you'll get weird results.
So like if we have an events table and then we have an events table but with a capital E, we couldn't differentiate between the two without using the quotes, I
Correct.
guess.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so we'll just always use lowercase
Exactly. Don't. Yeah.
with the underscores. So create times table. Let's do it. Stream times table, not just times table. So we've got our big increment, and now we want our event ID. Okay. So foreign event ID references ID on, and we called it events. And then, of course, on delete, we want to cascade as well.
Yeah, it's generally a good idea to like just reach for on delete cascade. There's a few times when you probably don't want to do that, but generally speaking, you will.
So I guess on a soft delete, we'd have to have the soft delete feature on these stream times too, so that on delete we'd cascade the soft delete.
Um, that's a good question. On delete, a soft delete is actually not a real delete, so it won't cascade.
Well, I mean,
As
you
far
want to set like the deleted column to true on everything that has reference to it, right?
correct, you definitely do want to do that, but I guess like the big thing here is that um, soft deletes are updates, not deletes.
Okay. Huh.
Therefore,
Anyway,
the
we
data.
don't really need to worry about it. Anyways, like, but
Right,
it's
yeah. We're not going to worry about soft deletes here. We're going to let people truly delete their data if they want to.
okay. Great. So table foreign. Now we need just the start time, end time. Oh wait, timestamp. Start time. Table. Timestamp. End time. There we go. So I think that's everything. Could it be? I think it is.
I'm checking to see if there's also a date. There's a date and there's a timestamp.
Oh, okay.
So it's a question of like, which one do we want?
So I think we want.
There's also a time.
Okay, what we need the difference then. Uh, so a date. So if we look into SQLite date.
And we're in reality, we're probably going to use Postgres. So let's just take a look at the Postgres one. And if necessary, we can probably next time set up the database to be a real like Postgres database as opposed to like SQLite.
So I'm gonna go off on a limb and I'm thinking that it's gonna be a date time. A date time equivalent column. So I'll Postgres a date time. Let's see. I hope it's date time because that's just intuitively what I'd go for, but I don't know if um let's see. Date input. I mean, it seems like it's the one. It really does to me. I'm seeing this ISO and everything. Let's see. They do have the timestamps. I'm getting a little bit confused. Data type, date time. Let me look at what just a date is, and then from there see the difference and see what would be the better fit. Because I doubt it's timestamp. Timestamp wouldn't make sense to me, at least. Um, this is weird. It's weird. So just a date is apparently a date equivalent column, and then there's also a date time, but I can't find a difference in the Postgres documentation. It's date/time. Timestamp, time, and interval, except optional precision. Oh, so this is all of the dates and all of the time related columns. This is kind of confusing. Huh.
Yeah, so in Laravel, there's some of those different types are Laravel types, and then they map to different types in different databases depending upon which database you use.
Right, okay.
So let's stick with like the basics. Let's choose date or timestamp.
Well, what if we want a time in there? Like it's a day and a time.
Okay.
Like
So what type is that?
I think it's date time. I mean, just semantically it would make sense because that's what I'd use in JavaScript. And but I can't really find much documentation about it for some reason.
All right, I sent
Or
you the Postgres doc. I sent you a link to a Postgres page, the docs page.
let's see. Yeah, so that's what I'm on right now. Oh wait, yeah, that's what I'm on. Wait, no, this is different. Where is it? Okay. Anyways, I'll just go ahead and read it. Um, so date, okay. Table 8 through 9, date/time types. Okay. So they've got a date and they've got a time, but they don't have a date time, as I expected.
Right. Exactly. Let's take a look at date. Like what look at the description for that.
So it's a date with no time of day.
Right. And then they also have a time.
Oh, okay. They have the time, okay, and that's
Which is
just with no date.
right, exactly. So we could do both. We could do date and time, like separately.
It sounds like a headache.
It is. Then take a look at timestamp.
Oh, what? Yeah. Okay.
Now, if we scroll down, they have examples of what each one would be like. So, for example, in section 8511, table 810, there's the dates.
Okay, yes, I see that.
So, like, all of these are valid dates. And then they have all the valid times.
Mm-hmm.
And then keep on going down, and you have the valid time stamps.
Okay. So we'd want ours with the time zone.
Quite possibly, yes. Because we need to be able to, like, we need to be able to update and say, like, okay, well, this is the time zone it was set in, so therefore let's update everything
convert
else.
it. Right. Okay.
Right.
So great. We'll use a timestamp then. We do indeed want a timestamp. Okay, great. So now
And
that all the migrations are done,
the migrations aren't done. We need to actually like set the timestamps properly with the time zone.
so do we add a TZ in there or?
Yeah, exactly.
So let me make sure exactly what I'm doing. Time zone. Oh wait, I mean timestamp. TZ. Yeah, capital T, lowercase z. There we go. So that should be good, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think this should be good. Are there any other tables we need to make?
We have the stream times, we have the events, we have the links, and the users was created at the beginning.
All right.
So I think that's it.
Let's go ahead and try to create these tables by, we're going to do a fresh migrate. Now, the reason we're going to do a fresh migrate is because we made a change to the users table.
Okay. Yes.
And
will it keep our data in there, or
no? It's going to delete
No?
all of our data.
Dang
Now,
it. Okay.
if we want to keep the data in there, then we can't make a change to the users table.
Well,
Like that
we
user's
kind of need
migration
that
itself.
change. Yeah. We'll have to sacrifice the data.
Right. Now, the option is we can undo the change we did to the user's migration file and create another user's migration file that just updates.
I mean, I guess we can try that.
We don't have to worry about that right this second. Let's go ahead and just delete everything. But in the future, we'll probably need to do some kind of update.
So I'm thinking it'll be PHP artisan migrate refresh.
So I think it's migrate refresh or migrate fresh.
On the it says refresh here, I think. Yeah.
Well, there's fresh and refresh.
Oh,
There's
there is a fresh. I didn't notice that. I was like, where's the fresh it's talking about?
yeah, so refresh, reset, and rerun all migrations, and fresh is drop all tables and rerun all migrations.
So fresh then.
Yeah, let's do fresh and just delete everything.
Great. And here we go. What are the errors?
Here's our fun errors here.
Okay. So migrating, and then we got to the links table, and it's like a general error.
Right. So let's take a look at this error and see what it's trying to tell us.
So unknown column, user ID in foreign key definition. Okay, yeah, that's our reference to the users table. ID integer not null, primary key auto increment. Yeah, that seems about right. Text not null. To not null. Okay, it's just telling us. Okay, it's just describing our schema there. That took me a while.
Yeah, exactly. And so if we take a look at it, it shows like the command that actually got run. It tried to do the command created at, and then it failed.
Okay. So query exception, that's probably the framework doing its thing. Exception trace, general. Okay.
Well, if we take a look at what was, like, can we tell what migration this had a problem with?
It never migrated the links.
Or it had a problem in creating the links table.
Yes. Okay.
So we could see like, okay, it migrated, create users table, and then migrated, create users table. So yes, for example, it's saying starting to create the users table and then finished creating the users table.
Right.
So somewhere in the links table, it failed.
It's not giving us the exact reason though.
Well, it's trying to. It's saying unknown column user ID in foreign key definition.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see that.
And so if we take a look at that, user ID references user's ID.
So user ID references ID on users. So users is the right one, and they do have an ID. It's a big increment, but why is it an unknown column?
So let's go back to the documentation again and take a look at like, did we do that right or wrong? And I think we did the foreign key stuff incorrect. So if we can get like an actual example of how they do that.
Oh, interesting. Yes. So what it is saying to do, it is saying to create the actual column for it first and then assign it.
Yes, exactly.
So I guess, would that be an unsigned big integer? Or would it just be a big integer?
Let's match whatever they have in the table that we're going to. So for example, in this case, this is going to the users table. So if we take a look at the create users, they're just using...
Well, it's just a big increment, right?
Right. And there is such a thing as a big unsigned increment. So
it's just a big integer.
Yes.
Okay. We probably do want to use the unsigned though, but whatever.
I mean, in reality, using unsigned is better, but
no biggie.
it's not a big deal right here because the database won't decrement it and make it negative. It just doesn't. It won't do that.
Right.
We're just limiting the number of rows that we can put in by allowing the numbers to have negative values.
That's an interesting idea of like what happens when we exceed the amount that that we can store. Like, will it wrap over on itself and go negative?
No, the database will stop working.
Just completely?
Yeah.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, it's a nightmare, but it's I mean, it's not like there won't be errors. We'll get errors.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And there's ways to fix that. And what we would do is we could just change the big increments to be unsigned.
Even bigger. Oh yeah, or unsigned.
At that time. But okay,
even bigger increments.
Let's save this file and rerun our migration.
Oh wait, but we're still gonna run into issues with the rest of them, right?
Oh yeah, let's make those changes to the rest of them.
So create event. We've got this foreign one, so we do want a big integer user ID. So that's that one, and then this one, we've got an event ID, which is also a big integer. There we go. I think that's it.
All right, let's rerun and see what happens.
No errors that time. Great.
I'm actually surprised that it worked. I was expecting there to be an error due to the timing of creating the links table first
before the events or something.
Yeah, apparently it works for SQLite. I have no idea if this is going to work for like a Postgres database.
Right. So you think like SQLite is just smart enough, or do you think it's like just not telling us about its issues?
Possibly. It's hard to tell. Smart enough is really hard to say with SQLite because it's a very, very, very dumb database.
It's okay, SQLite. We still love you.
It's actually one of the best parts of SQLite is that it's such a small database.
Oh, great. I guess that's
Um,
why you're using it for the first time.
well, yeah, and then for reality, you go to someplace else, and we can change it, and we'll probably will eventually migrate over and start using Postgres in in our sort of like testing once we now that we're doing more complex things.
Right. Right.
So let's actually maybe play around with this and test things out. Um,
Do you think we can try to seed it within the next 3 minutes or
what we
something?
can do is we can create a seed file.
Okay. So it was make cedar. I'm going to do the help on that. And it's just the name. So make cedar for.
And this one is going to be a class. So this is Pascal case.
Okay. So what do we want to make it for? The users or the links or events or streams? I don't really know.
I mean, it's up to us, right? Like we can any of them are fine.
Well, I'm afraid that if we try to make the users, then it's going to have trouble with the signing in and everything like that.
There is that we'd have to figure that out. Let's not worry about that right now because there's actually a system. If we go over to, let's see, where is it? It is not in database factories. There's a user factory.
Factories. Ooh, interesting. A user factory. Oh, interesting. And they all have the same password for some reason. Oh, wait, this looks like it's hashed already or something.
It's hashed, but they tell you in the comment exactly what that password is.
Password. Oh! I didn't realize that that was the actual password.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Good password. Good on ya. Whoever made that.
Well,
Very, very
this is
safe
not
password.
meant for creating actual real users. This is meant for
Yeah.
creating like fake users.
Dummies.
Exactly. So we already have a user seed,
Okay.
and we can take a look at
So,
how this factory. Well, we have a factory for users. We don't have a user seed.
okay.
We just have a database. Um,
Cedar. Right.
so if you want, you can create a user's seed first. So create one and call it users table seeder.
Like that. And, okay.
And that gives us this class that we can use.
Okay.
Now inside of it, we have to tell it to run the factory, and I constantly forget what the actual command is to like get the factory running, but it shouldn't be that hard for us to find the documentation for us.
Let's see. It wouldn't be define. No, because then we'd have to pass in a faker function, and we don't have. Or oh wait. We'd have to call the faker function with a faker.
Right. Yes. But we have a factory that's going to do that for us.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to have to worry about the faker. So in the documentation, then, what does that say about it?
Have you found the seeding documentation yet?
Seeding, there it is. So running wiring seeders using modal factories. Okay, so I don't know if this is what we did. Calling additional seeders. Okay, that's not exactly what we want to do. I want to run a factory, not a seeder. Using the factories. Oh, I think I see it. Create. Wait. I think I see it. I don't know if this is right, but if we do, it seems to be a global, is it? It seems to go like this. And what they did, I don't know. I don't even know where they're getting these things. Let's create 50 users and attach a relationship to each user. So, man, this is kind of nuts.
So let's just be really, really simple right now.
I mean, they've got in the run function. Oh, you just go like this. So whatever a database is. Oh, oopsies. They just call the table, and this is users, and they just say insert.
Okay, so you could do this, but we're going to use the model factory because one already exists for us.
Okay.
In Laravel, I found that if you're manually messing with the database, then you're doing it the hard way.
Okay.
So we don't need this entire line.
It did seem quite exhaustive.
Exactly. So you were on the right path. We're going to do the factory.
So like this. Shoot, why can't I focus on the right? There we go. Okay. And then they reference the class. It's odd. I don't really know how to do that. I guess I'm just gonna do it like this. See what that does. And they create 50, which I guess 50 is a bit much, but like no biggie.
I mean, we
right?
can delete this database as often as we want. And we don't need to do the each right now because we don't need to like create like all sorts of other stuff associated with the user right now. We're just going to create and then make.
So then, like that.
Let's try it. Well, before we run this, we need to go to the actual the database seeder full file.
Okay, and then we need to say,
and we just uncomment this. That's it.
Nice, because it's already user table seeder.
Because you called the class the user's table seeder the same name that it had already in that seeder file, it's going to be able to find it.
Great. So now we do the PHP artisan run seeder. Hang on, let me see. Running seeders. There we go. So db : seed. So like that, it seems. And we can specify a class, but I think we've only got one, so let's go for it. Database seeding complete successfully.
Well, let's jump into Tinker and see if we have 50 users now.
So or just all.
It's not dot.
Oh, right.
Yes. take a look at that.
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, they look fine.
We
Wait,
have
how do they get the faker? That's nuts.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
comes
So
up with a special name.
take a look at the factory.
Name. They've got a faker name, and it gives you a fake name. That's fun.
Faker is actually it's a famous library, and I don't know if there's a PHP version of this. I guess there's a PHP version of this one, but you can definitely get one in NPM too. And it's really nice for creating like just fake data really quickly and without having to think about it.
They all have the same timestamp because they were all created. I was thinking, it might actually, I guess because this timestamp is created by the database, but whatever. Okay. I wonder if you can hijack those in order to test something.
Yes, you can. You can definitely test that. Like we could probably come in and add a created at and updated at here.
Okay. Interesting. We don't really need to worry about that now, but
no, definitely not. What we're gonna do, and we could do this next time. So I'm gonna switch over to the README, and we can say, let's see, next time. Our plan is to build out, build the rest of the database seeds.
Awesome.
So we need the rest of the database seeds, and then this also allows us, we can log in with each of these users.
Okay, great. Yeah. Awesome.
And
it automatically creates a password and everything.
Exactly. And so we can play around with this, but the next time we're going to build the rest of the database seeds and we'll just go from there.
Okay, great. Let's see if we actually finished any where is it? Hang on. I'm going to look at our I'm trying to find our GitHub repo. I don't know why it took me so long to figure out what I'm trying to say. What was the name of this? Streaming. There. Nope. Huh. Why am I having such issue finding this? Maybe I put it in my description, did I? It might be easier to get it from there.
Here, I'll send it to you.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it. There we go. So in our issues, I feel like we resolved something. Nope, we did not.
Nope, we didn't. Yeah, we definitely did not.
The databases need to be populated, which requires factories. Links. We need to do the links. We need to do the schedules and events. There we go. Okay. So just did that. Just made an issue for that for next time, so we can actually close an issue next time. But yeah, it's 10:10 over here now. I didn't know if we're saving the seating for next time.
Yeah, we're definitely saving the rest of the seating for next time. So we're pretty much at the end. So do we want to do a quick recap?
Yeah. So we didn't do a lot, but we did get something big done. It was we planned out what the database is going to look like, exactly what it was going to be like according to our front end, and then based off of that, we actually created the migrations for them.
Right. Yes, and we were able to play with the seeds so that next time we can do the rest of them.
Great.
So I am going to add all of these changes up to GitHub. So in this case, created migrations for the tables. For the tables. Send that
Awesome.
on up. I sent out a link to all of you who are watching. You can go and take a look at the code. I'll also have the link in the description of the archives. We're doing this stream every Sunday at 7 a.m. Mountain Time or 8 a.m. Central Time. Yeah. Whatever time zone you're in.
Yep.
And then so that's once per week. I myself am doing a sort of like a weekday streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6:45 a.m. Mountain Time for about an hour and a half or so. Where can people find you, Kael?
They can find me on my Twitter. Twitter.com/Kaelinator17 or on my YouTube channel.
And I'll have a link to Kael's Twitter and YouTube channel as well. You have been streaming these on your channel, and so people can watch your side of things over there.
Yes, my archives are here, as well as a couple other videos if you want to check them out too.
All right. Well, with that, I think we're about done. So, any last words?
Nope, that's all I got.
All right. Well, with that, I hope that you all have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next time.